I got kicked out of my house at 17 because my brother swore. I stole my mom's pearl necklace. Not just any necklace, the one my mom wore on every anniversary, every family photo, every important moment. And the person who framed me wasn't some random stranger, it was my own brother. Let's call him the Golden Boy. For a second, the Golden Boy who could do no wrong. The Golden Boy who learned really early that if he cried hard enough, adults would believe anything. My name is Kayla Thornton. And the night my dad dragged me out of the house and slammed the door in my face barefoot, in a thin tee, with nothing but my backpack, honestly thought my life was over. What I didn't know was that a few weeks later, the Golden Boy's own mouth would destroy everything he was trying to protect, and I'd be the one walking away free. Before I get into it, because this story gets messy. If you like true family drama, karmic justice, and stories where the problem child actually turns out to be the only sane one, do me a quick favor, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story time like this. It helps the channel a ton, and it tells me you want more long, detailed stories where people finally stop being the family doormat. Okay, so, here's how it all started. I'm Kayla, 17, coffee shop barista, honor roll kid, the kind of teenager who works weekends and saves tips in a jar labeled college or bust. And then there's my brother, the Golden Boy. His real name is Noah, 2 years older than me, same brown hair as me, same parents, completely different treatment. From the outside, we looked like a normal family in Portland. Little blue house, tiny backyard, a wind chime that drove me crazy when it got windy. But inside that house, it was Noah can do no wrong on loop. Little kid version of him broke a neighbor's window with a baseball. He's just energetic, Mom said, apologizing for him while Dad slipped the neighbor some cash. Middle school Noah copied someone's homework and got caught. He's under a lot of pressure, Dad told the teacher. We'll handle it at home. Spoiler, nothing was ever handled. Meanwhile, when I got my first B+, you're slipping, Kayla, Dad said, frowning at my report card. You're better than this. The joke was, if something went wrong, it was probably me. If something went right, it was definitely Noah. Mom's pearl necklace was like our family crown jewel. She told us the story at least 30 times, greater than your grandma gave it to me before she passed. Mom would say, touching it gently, she wore it at her wedding. I wore it at mine. One day, I might pass it down to you. She never said which you, by the way, but I remember that every time she said it, she'd look at Noah first, not me. I'd sit there pretending I didn't notice, stirring my mashed potatoes or scrolling my phone, telling myself I was imagining it. The necklace lived in a little velvet box on Mom's dresser, inside a drawer she kept locked. She only wore it on special occasions, anniversaries, Christmas, church on Easter Sunday, that kind of thing. So yeah, it wasn't something you just randomly borrow. And it definitely wasn't something I'd ever be stupid enough to touch. The night it happened, I was in my room at my old wooden desk, writing in my journal. I can still picture it clearly, my tiny twinkle lights, my chipped mug of tea, the sound of rain against the window. I was writing about my college plans, how many shifts I needed at the coffee shop to make a dent in tuition. Whether I should apply for out-of-state schools or stay local. I remember actually feeling hopeful. Then my bedroom door burst open so hard it hit the wall. I jumped, my pen streaking ink across the page. Noah stumbled in, eyes shiny with tears, chest heaving. For half a second, I panicked. What's wrong? I started, pushing my chair back. Then he pointed at me like he was accusing a murderer. She stole it, he choked out. She stole Mom's pearl necklace. My brain did that weird record scratch thing. What? I snapped, standing up. Noah, what the hell are you talking about? Tears streamed down his face. He really went for it. Red eyes, shaky voice, little gasping breaths. If I didn't know him, I'd have believed him. I saw you, he sobbed. You were in Mom's room, and then the necklace was gone. I told you not to touch it. But you, he broke off like the pain was too much. My heartbeat slammed in my ears. That's a lie, I said, my voice low and sharp. I never touched that necklace. You know I didn't. He opened his mouth to say something else, but Dad appeared in the doorway like he'd been waiting for his cue. His face was already furious, greater than Kayla. What is this I'm hearing? He demanded. Mom was right behind him, hands wringing the edge of her sweater. Eyes huge. I felt the floor tilt under me. Nothing, I said quickly, because it's not true. I didn't touch Mom's necklace. Noah clung to Mom's arm, burying his face in her shoulder. Greater than she did, he cried. I saw her sneaking around. She's been so weird lately, always mad. Maybe he sniffed loudly. I caught it then, just for a second. The tiniest flicker of something behind his tears. Smugness. He knew exactly what he was doing. My stomach dropped. Greater than you're lying, I said, taking a step toward him. Tell them what you did, Noah. Dad's voice cut through the room like a whip. Greater than enough, he snapped. Where is the necklace, Kayla? I don't know, I yelled back, panic and anger mixing in my throat. I've never touched it. Go check Mom's room. It's probably Dad was already moving. Where did he go? Straight to my desk. He yanked open my top drawer. My notebooks, pens, coffee shop, pay stubs, he tossed them aside like trash. Greater than Dad, stop, I cried, reaching for him. He shrugged me off. He opened the second drawer, the one where I kept my old journals, receipts, and some random junk. His hand froze. Everything went quiet, like movie quiet, like someone pressed mute. When he straightened up, he was holding Mom's pearl necklace. The little white beads glinted in the lamplight, resting in his fist like evidence in a crime show. I felt all the air leave my body. Care to explain this? Dad growled, thrusting it toward me. I stared at it, then at Noah. He looked away too fast. I didn't put it there. I whispered at first, then louder. I didn't put it there. He did. He planted it. Noah sobbed even louder, shaking his head. Why are you lying? He cried. Why can't you just admit it, Kayla? Mom's face crumpled. Greater than Kayla. Why? She whispered. If you needed money, we could have talked. The disappointment in her voice hurt more than any shout. I felt my heart crack. Greater than Mom, I didn't take it, I pleaded. I swear to God. He's setting me up. Dad wasn't having any of it. He stepped closer, his face red. Greater than you're a disgrace, he spat. Stealing from your own mother, from this family, after everything we've done for you. That line always kills me. Everything they'd done for me. They fed me. They housed me. That's parenting, not some grand favor? I shook my head, tears burning my eyes. Dad, listen to me, I said. Think. Does this sound like something I would do? Noah is his hand sliced through the air. Greater than no more lies, he yelled. I will not stand here and listen to your excuses. Mom stepped forward, voice shaky. Kayla, just tell the truth, she begged. Why did you do it? I didn't, I screamed, my voice breaking on the word. I didn't. You know me. You've known me for 17 years. I work, I save, I don't steal. But their faces told me everything. They'd already made their choice. They believed the golden boy. Dad grabbed my arm so hard it hurt. Greater than you're out of this house, he said, his voice suddenly cold, terrifyingly calm. No daughter of mine is a thief. For a second, I honestly thought he was bluffing. I laughed in disbelief, my voice high and shaky. You're kidding, I said. This is insane. You're not even listening. He yanked me toward the door. I stumbled, catching myself on the wall. Greater than Dad. Stop, I cried. You can't just. I can, he snapped. And I am. Mom followed behind us, crying now. Greater than Stephen. Maybe we should, he cut her off. Greater than you saw the necklace in her drawer, he said. You heard Noah. She did this. I grabbed my backpack from the floor. It was a reflex. I didn't even think. All I knew was, my entire world was collapsing, and my math notebook and work uniform somehow felt important in that moment. I didn't grab shoes. I didn't grab a jacket. I didn't grab anything else. Noah stood in the hallway, watching. For a second, our eyes met. That smug glint flickered again. He'd won. He knew it. I stepped out onto the porch. The night air hit me like ice. Greater than Dad, please, I begged, turning around. I didn't do this. I'm your daughter, not a thief. Please. He stared at me. His face was just stone. Greater than get out, he said, before I call the cops. Mom stood behind him, crying silently. I reached for her. Greater than Mom, I sobbed. Say something, please. You know I wouldn't hurt you like this, please. Her hand fluttered at her side. For a second, I thought she'd reach for me. Then she looked down. I don't know what to believe, she whispered. That hurts worse than being called a disgrace. More than no daughter of mine. Because that meant she saw me as a stranger. Dad slammed the door. I heard the lock click. I stood there for a minute, barefoot on the freezing porch, rain-slick wood under my feet, gripping my backpack like it could hold me together. Then I sank to my knees and sobbed. I wish I could tell you I had some brilliant plan. I didn't. I was just a 17-year-old kid in thin pajamas, with a backpack full of notebooks and a few crumpled dollars from my last shift at the coffee shop. I walked. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stay. It was cold. The Portland air cut through my shirt. My feet went numb on the wet sidewalk. Every step, my brain replayed the last 10 minutes on loop. Greater than you're a disgrace. No daughter of mine. Kayla, why would you do this? By the time I reached the park near the edge of our neighborhood, my teeth were chattering. The park backed up to a little patch of trees. People called it the forest, but it was really just a cluster of tall firs and undergrowth. It was dark and quiet except for the buzz of distant traffic. I found a bench, half hidden behind some bushes, and sank down. My backpack became my pillow. The wood was wet. My clothes clung to me. Every rustle made my heart jump. I was terrified. Of everything. Of someone finding me. Of no one finding me at some point. Exhaustion won. I must have slept, because when I opened my eyes again, the sky was gray, and my whole body ached. My feet throbbed. My head pounded. My stomach growled. I dragged myself to the public restroom near the community center. The fluorescent lights buzzed. The mirror showed someone I barely recognized, pale, dark circles, hair matted from the rain. I splashed cold water on my face and tried to think. Greater than I can't go back. I whispered to my reflection, they don't want you. I thought about going to Chelsea's house, but then I pictured her parents calling mine. Did you know Kayla's here? And Dad showing up with that same furious expression. So, I walked again. Day blurred into day. The crumpled dollars disappeared quickly, one cheap sandwich from a gas station, one bottle of water. By the third day, I was broke. The kind of broke where your stomach hurts and you start eyeing trash cans. I had found myself behind a diner one afternoon, staring at a dumpster like it was some kind of monster. The lid was open. I could see bags, cardboard, food scraps. It smelled like old fries and coffee. My hands shook. I hated myself for even thinking about it, but my stomach growled so loudly it hurt. Greater than it's this or nothing, I muttered. I climbed up, reaching in. I found half a burger still wrapped in greasy paper. Someone had taken 2 bites and tossed it. I wanted to gag. Instead, I unwrapped it and forced myself to eat. Every bite tasted like shame. I was sitting on the curb, chewing slowly, when the back door of the diner opened. A guy in his 20s came out carrying a trash bag. His apron was faded, his hair was messy and tied back with a bandana. He stopped when he saw me, just froze. Greater than hey, he said after a second, his voice careful. You okay? I dropped my gaze, humiliation burning my cheeks. I'm fine, I mumbled. He looked at the burger in my hand, the open dumpster, my bare ankles, the backpack clutched to my chest. He didn't buy it. Wait here, he said, disappearing inside. Part of me wanted to bolt. Pride, embarrassment, whatever, but my legs were heavy, and honestly, I didn't have the energy to run. A minute later, he came back with a paper bag. He held it out. Greater than leftover bread in a sandwich, he said. It's clean, not garbage, I promise. I stared at the bag, then at him. Why are you doing this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He shrugged. Because you look like you need it, he said simply, and I can't just walk back inside and pretend I didn't see you. Something in my chest cracked. Greater than thank you, I whispered. He nodded, like it was no big deal, then tossed the trash and headed back inside. That little act of kindness, it didn't fix anything, but it reminded me that not everyone in the world would look at me and see a thief. Some people still saw a person. That night, I found an old warehouse near the edge of town. One of the windows was broken, just enough for me to slip through. Inside, it was dusty and cold, but it was dry and hidden. I curled up on a pile of old sacks, using my backpack as a pillow. It wasn't home, but it was better than the bench in the dark. My brain did what it always does. Replayed everything. Noah's fake tears, Dad's rage, Mom's silence. I wanted so badly to believe this was all some bad dream, that I'd wake up in my bed and my biggest problem would be my math homework. Instead, I was a homeless thief in my own parents' eyes. I remembered someone else then, my Aunt Patricia, Mom's older sister, the one who always side-eyed Noah's crocodile tears, the one who once quietly slipped me $20 when she heard I was saving for college. Greater than you work too hard, she'd said, don't let them make you feel guilty for being the responsible one. I clung to that memory like a lifeline. The next day, I found a payphone outside a gas station. My hands trembled as I dug out the last few coins and dialed her number from memory. The ringing felt like it went on forever. Then greater than hello. Her voice, familiar, warm, but worried. Aunt Patricia, I croaked. Greater than Kayla, she said, sharp now. Where are you? I've been calling your mom all week. She keeps dodging me. That's when I lost it. Words spilled out, jumbled, choked. But I told her everything, the accusation, the planted necklace, Dad throwing me out, sleeping in the park, the dumpster. I expected her to say, there must be a misunderstanding, or well, your dad said. She didn't. Her voice turned steely. I believe you, she said immediately. I always thought there was something off about the way they treated you versus Noah. Listen to me, Kayla, stay strong. Don't you dare give up. I'm going to dig into this. Tears blurred my vision. Greater than I don't know what to do, I whispered. I don't have anywhere to go. Where are you right now? She asked. I hesitated. Near the old warehouse by the river, I said. I've been staying there. She swore under her breath. Greater than okay. Here's what you're going to do, she said. You stay where you are tonight. Tomorrow, I'm coming to find you. And in the meantime, keep your eyes and ears open. People like Noah always slip up. They can't resist bragging. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Thank you, I whispered, for believing me. Always, she said. You're not alone, Kayla. Remember that. I hung up, my chest a tiny bit lighter. My situation hadn't changed, but now I had something I hadn't had since the night. It all blew up. Hope. A week later, I did something that feels stupid even now. I went back to school. Part of me thought, if I just go, if I just act normal, maybe things will settle down. I underestimated how fast rumors travel. The second I walked onto campus, I felt it. Eyes. Whispers, people nudging each other, half hiding their faces as they stared. I kept my head down and walked to my locker. Someone had written in black marker across it. Thief. The word felt like it was stamped on my forehead. I swallowed hard and opened the locker, pretending I didn't see. As I walked down the hallway, I heard a girl from my history class, Abby's, say loud enough for the whole corridor. Greater than watch your bags, guys. Thornton's here. Her friends snickered. I stopped. Greater than I didn't take anything, I said quietly, turning toward her. She crossed her arms. Yeah, that why your parents kicked you out? She asked. People don't throw their kid out for no reason, Kayla. The words hit like a punch. I wanted to tell her everything. That my brother planted the necklace. That he cried on command. That my dad saw what he wanted to see. Instead, I just said, you don't know what happened. She rolled her eyes. Whatever, she muttered. Just stay away from my stuff. They walked away, laughing. Every classroom I stepped into felt like walking onto a stage where I was the villain in a play everyone had already watched. I tried talking to my English teacher, Ms. Carter, during lunch. She'd always been kind before, so I thought maybe she'd listen. Greater than Ms. Carter, can I talk to you? I asked, hovering at her desk. She looked up from her stack of papers. Of course, Kayla, she said. What's going on? I took a deep breath. There's a rumor going around, I said, about me. People think I stole from my mom. I didn't. My brother lied. He planted something in my room, and my parents, her expression changed. Not cruel, but distant. Greater than Kayla, she interrupted gently. This sounds like a very serious family situation. I'm sure your parents are doing what they think is best. I stared at her. They threw me out, I said. I've been staying in a warehouse. I'm not exaggerating. I'm homeless because of a lie. She winced, like the word homeless made her uncomfortable. Have you spoken to the school counselor? She asked. Maybe they can help mediate things. Mediating implied both sides had a point. Greater than I don't need mediation, I said. I need someone to believe me. Her smile was sad. Greater than sometimes, she said. It takes time for families to work through things. I'm sure your parents love you. Deep down. I felt like I was shrinking. Greater than right, I said, my voice flat. Thanks anyway. I walked out of her classroom feeling more invisible than I had behind the dumpster. Even adults I trusted didn't really see me. By the end of the day, I was done. I skipped my last class and sat on the school steps, my head in my hands. Kids walked past, whispering, pointing, some laughing, some just pitying. I wanted to disappear. Kayla. I looked up. Chelsea stood there, frowning, backpack slung over one shoulder. We'd been best friends since middle school. Awkward braces, band concerts, sleepovers, The whole cliché when the rumor first started. She texted me, "Tell me what actually happened." I'd told her everything. She believed me, but I hadn't seen her in a week. I'd been too embarrassed. Now, she sat next to me on the steps. "Greater than you look like hell," she said softly. "No offense." I laughed, a short, bitter sound. "Greater than none taken." She nudged me with her shoulder. "I heard about the screaming match at your house," she said. "My mom heard your mom crying on the phone. She said it sounded bad." Bad didn't even cover it. I stared at my hands. "They kicked me out," I said. "Over something I didn't do." Her jaw tightened. "Greater than I know you didn't," she said. "You wouldn't take your mom's necklace. That thing is, like, cursed with meaning." I snorted. "Greater than exactly." We sat there for a minute in silence. "Greater than, so where are you staying?" she asked gently. I hesitated, part of me wanted to lie. But this was Chelsea. "Greater than an old warehouse," I said. "By the river." Her eyes widened. "You're kidding?" I shook my head. "Greater than I wish I was." Anger flared in her eyes. "Your dad is out of his mind," she said. "And Noah. Honestly, I never liked his 'I'm so charming' act. He's like a wet golden retriever that everyone thinks is cute until he ruins the carpet." I laughed for real that time. "You sound like my Aunt Patricia," I said. "She sounds smart," Chelsea replied. "Look, I don't know how yet, but we're going to fix this. Noah's not as slick as he thinks he is." I looked at her, really looked at her. She wasn't doubting, she wasn't hedging, she believed me completely. "Greater than thank you," I murmured. "Ride or die, remember," she said. "Besides, I refuse to let my best friend be known as the necklace thief for the rest of high school. That's the worst branding ever." I smiled. For the first time in days, I didn't feel completely alone. For everyone watching this right now, if your entire family believed a lie about you and kicked you out, but one friend stood by your side, would you still be able to trust your family again? Or would you walk away? Let me know in the comments, because I still think about that choice. The night everything shifted. I wasn't there when it happened. Chelsea was. It was a Friday. I was in the warehouse, wrapped in my thin jacket, trying to fall asleep while wind rattled the loose metal. My phone buzzed, a cheap prepaid thing I'd kept alive with small top dash-ups. It was a text from Chelsea at a party. "Guess who just walked in?" I stared at the screen. "Noah." I typed. "Bingo," she replied. "If he says anything dumb, I'll let you know." I almost told her to go home. To avoid him. I didn't want her caught in the crossfire. Instead, I just sent, "Greater than, be careful." Hours later, long after I'd drifted into a shallow, uneasy sleep, my phone buzzed again. This time it was a call. I answered, groggy. "Hello, dude," Chelsea said, whispering urgently. "Wake up, you're going to want to hear this." My heart picked up. "What happened?" I asked, sitting up. "Noah happened," she said, and his big mouth, she took a breath. Greater than I was at Zach's party. Noah showed up, made his usual dramatic entrance. Couple drinks in, he starts talking about you. Loud. To impress some guys. My stomach twisted. "Greater than, what did he say?" I whispered. "Greater than, he said, and, I quote, Kayla's gone for good." I put the necklace in her drawer where mom would find it. She took the bait. Dad lost it. She's out. I'm finally rid of her. The warehouse spun. He admitted it. I choked. Out loud. "Oh yeah," she said. He was bragging like he'd pulled off a genius heist. And when he saw the guys were impressed, he doubled down. Talked about how everyone always thinks he's the golden child. How he knew your parents would believe him over you. My hands shook. Rage, hurt, vindication, all tangled together. "Greater than, did anyone film it?" I asked desperately. "Please tell me someone filmed it." Chelsea paused. Then I heard the smile in her voice. "Greater than, better," she said. I recorded the audio. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. "Greater than you what?" "My brother's old Walkman," she said. "He brought it as a joke to show off his vintage gear." I had a blank cassette in my bag because we were going to mess around with it later. When Noah started running his mouth, I hit record and set the Walkman on the arm of the couch. I pressed my free hand over my mouth. "Greater than, Chelsea," I whispered. "You recorded his confession." "Crystal clear," she said. "Your name, the necklace, the fact that he planted it, all of it." Tears blurred my vision. "Greater than, thank you," I whispered. "Oh my God, thank you." "Don't thank me yet," she said. "We need to figure out what to do. This is dynamite. We need an adult who will actually use it correctly." Only one adult came to mind. "Aunt Patricia," I said. "Exactly," she replied. "Meet me at her place tomorrow." I'll be there, I said. I hung up and stared at the dark ceiling of the warehouse. For 2 weeks, I'd been scrounging food, curling up on sacks, dodging whispers, feeling like the world had stamped thief on my forehead. Now for the first time, I had something Noah couldn't cry his way out of. Proof. The next day, I showed up at Aunt Patricia's place with my backpack and eyes that probably screamed, I've been sleeping in a warehouse. Her small living room was cluttered but cozy, books stacked everywhere, a faded couch, a plant that looked like it had seen things. She opened the door and pulled me into a hug, so tight it squeezed the air out of me. Oh, honey, she said, pulling back to study my face. They really did a number on you, didn't they? I swallowed. You have no idea. Chelsea arrived a few minutes later, clutching her backpack like it was filled with gold. We sat around Patricia's coffee table. Chelsea placed a small cassette on the table like it was a bomb. This is it, she said. His confession. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Let's hear it. She went to a shelf and pulled down an old cassette player, like actual analog, stained with time. She popped the tape in and hit play. There was a crackle, then party noise music, laughter, then Noah's voice, unmistakable. Kayla's gone for good, he said, smug. I put that necklace right in her drawer. Mom went ballistic. Dad kicked her out. Finally free of her drama. One of the guys laughed. Dude, that's savage. Noah chuckled. She had it coming. Miss Perfect needed a reality check. Besides, they were always going to believe me over her. I'm their golden boy. Hearing him say it out loud made me feel physically sick. My hands trembled. Chelsea squeezed my knee. Patricia stopped the tape. Her jaw was clenched. That boy, she muttered. I knew he was spoiled, but this. She looked at me. Kayla, this is gold, but we have to be smart. I want to play it in the middle of school. Chelsea blurted. Put a mic on it in the cafeteria, blast it. Patricia shook her head. Tempting, she said, but messy. Noah could claim it's fake, edited, taken out of context. High schoolers love drama, but they forget it fast. She turned to me. What do you want, Kayla? I stared at the tape. I want my name cleared, I said slowly. I want my parents to know the truth. I want Noah to face what he did, and I want them to feel even half of what I felt that night. Patricia nodded. Then we take this straight to the heart of the problem, she said. Your family? Face to face. My stomach clenched. You want me to go back there? I asked. The memory of the porch, the slam, the lock, the freezing wood under my feet, it all came rushing back. Not, as a begging child, Patricia said, as someone holding the truth. You don't go alone. I'll be there. Chelsea can be nearby if you want, but they need to hear this from you, with this tape backing you up. Chelsea nodded vigorously. We've got your back, she said. We're not letting you face the golden boy and his cheer squad by yourself. I took a deep breath. Fear warred with anger inside me. But under both, there was something else. Resolve. Okay, I said. Let's do it. Quick check-in for you listening. If you were in my shoes with a recording of your sibling admitting they framed you confront your parents calmly. Blast it publicly. Lawyer up. Tell me in the comments what your revenge plan would be, because we seriously debated our options. Portland rain has this way of making everything look more dramatic than it already is. The day we went back to my house, it was pouring. I stood on the sidewalk outside, clutching the cassette player in one hand and the tape in the other. My heart felt like it was trying to punch through my ribs. Patricia stood beside me with an umbrella, her presence solid. Chelsea waited a few houses down, sitting on a bus stop bench, eyes on us, phone in her hand. Backup. I took one last breath and walked up to the front door, the wood I'd knelt on, crying, not that long ago. I knocked for a minute. Nothing. Then the door creaked open. Mom stood there. She looked smaller somehow, pale eyes, swollen like she'd been crying a lot. Kayla, she whispered, like she'd seen a ghost. I swallowed. Hi. Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I need to talk to you, and Dad. And Noah. She hesitated, then she stepped aside. Come in. Walking back into that house felt surreal. Same family photos on the wall. Same couch. Same smell of laundry detergent and whatever candle Mom was obsessed with that month. But it didn't feel like home. It felt like walking into a courtroom. Dad was in his chair, arms crossed, jaw tight. Noah hovered near the hallway, hands shoved in his pockets. No one said welcome back. No one offered me a seat. I stood in the middle of the living room, Patricia at my side. What are you doing here? Dad demanded. We made ourselves clear. I'm here to tell the truth, I said. About the necklace, he scoffed. We've heard enough of your lies, he said. You need to accept what you did and move on. My hands tightened around the cassette player. Greater than I didn't steal Mom's necklace, I said. Noah planted it in my drawer. Noah flinched. Greater than she's making this up, he said quickly. She's jealous. She always has been. I held up the tape. I have your confession, I said quietly. On tape. From Zach's party. The room froze. Dad's eyes narrowed. Greater than what are you talking about? Mom's gaze flickered between us. Noah's face drained of color. Greater than she's bluffing, he snapped. This is ridiculous. Patricia stepped forward. Greater than she's not bluffing, she said. I've heard it. I set the cassette player on the coffee table. My fingers trembled as I slid the tape in, closed the lid, and pressed play. Party noise filled the room. Then Noah's voice. Greater than Kayla's gone for good. I put that necklace in her drawer, and Mom and Dad bought it. She's out and I'm finally free of her. Hearing it in this room, in front of my parents, made my stomach twist. Mom gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Dad's face went blank. Noah lunged forward. Greater than turn that off, he shouted. I hit stop. Silence. Mom turned slowly to Noah. Her voice trembled. Greater than Noah, she whispered. Is that your voice? He stammered. Greater than it's taken out of context, he said. I was joking. We were drunk. They edited it. She's framing me now. Patricia snorted. Greater than please, she said. You're not important enough to get the Hollywood edit. Mom, he admitted it, I said. My voice shaking but getting stronger. He said my name. He said the necklace. He said you bought it. He bragged about being the golden boy. How you'd always believe him over me. Mom looked like someone had pulled the floor out from under her. She sank onto the couch. Greater than you framed your sister, she asked Noah, tears pooling in her eyes. You let us throw her out. You watched her leave. Noah's mask cracked. Underneath the bravado, he looked scared. Greater than she's always the victim, he spat. She thinks she's better than me. Everyone praises her for working and getting good grades while I'm just the screw-up. I wanted her gone. Okay, I wanted a break. It was just supposed to scare her. I didn't think he stopped. Because he'd said too much again. Dad finally spoke. But his voice wasn't angry this time, it was hollow. Greater than you let us believe she stole from us, he said slowly. You watched me throw her out, and you said nothing. Noah looked at his shoes. I thought you'd, I don't know, let her back in eventually, he mumbled. I let out a bitter laugh. Greater than eventually, I said. After what? A week, a month, after I learned my lesson. I slept in a park, Noah. I dug through a dumpster for food. I washed my face in gas station bathrooms, all while you were bragging at parties about how you'd gotten rid of me. I turned to Dad, my hands were shaking. But my voice was steady. Greater than you called me a disgrace, I said. You told me I wasn't your daughter anymore. You didn't want to hear a single word from me. You didn't even ask why I would do something so out of character. You saw a necklace in my drawer and decided 17 years of me being responsible didn't mean anything. His jaw clenched. Greater than Kayla. Greater than no, I cut in. You don't get to Kayla. Your way out of this. You threw me out with no shoes. You threatened to call the cops on me. You watched me beg on the porch and you shut the door in my face. Mom sobbed. Greater than we thought you'd taken it. She choked. We thought you'd changed. You thought Noah was more believable than me, I said. Because he cries. Because he's the golden boy. Because you've been enabling him his whole life and you'd rather assume I snapped than admit he's capable of something this cruel. The words spilled out. Years of swallowed resentment riding on the wave of this moment. This wasn't just a misunderstanding, I said. It was favoritism. It was bias. And it almost broke me. Dad looked at the floor. His face, usually so confident, now looked old. Greater than we made a mistake, he said quietly. I shook my head. Greater than no. You made a choice, I replied, over and over again. This, I pointed at the cassette, is just the first time you can't talk your way around it. I stepped back. Greater than here's what's going to happen, I said. You are going to clear my name. Publicly, you're going to tell the family, the neighbors, everyone who heard Noah's version, that he lied, that he framed me, that you threw me out over a lie. Mom sniffed, wiping her cheeks. Greater than will apologize, she said. Greater than the apology is not for you to decide, Patricia cut in. It's for Kayla to accept or reject. She's the one you hurt. I nodded. I'm not ready to forgive you, I said, if ever. You don't just get to say sorry and reset, but you are going to fix the damage you did to my reputation. That's the bare minimum. I picked up the cassette and the player. Greater than if you don't, I added quietly. This tape doesn't just stay in this living room. Noah stiffened. Mom nodded slowly, tears streaming. I'll tell them, she whispered. I'll tell everyone. I'll make a post on the community forum. I'll say exactly what happened. Dad didn't argue. That might be the only time in my life I've seen him speechless. I turned toward the door. I'm not coming back here, I said. Not now. Maybe not ever. I needed you when you believed I was a thief. You failed me. Now you can deal with the fallout. I walked out into the rain. This time, when the door closed behind me, it wasn't a slam pushing me out, it was me leaving on my own terms. A few days later, I was at Patricia's house when she called me over to her desktop computer. It was ancient. The monitor hummed. The keyboard clacked loud. Mom was on a video call, face pale, eyes puffy. I'm writing it now, she said, on the Portland Community Forum. Everyone reads it. On the screen, I watched her type. Greater than my daughter Kayla was wrongly accused. She paused, fingers hovering. Patricia's voice was firm. Greater than say we failed her. Ellen, not there was a misunderstanding. The truth, or don't bother. Mom nodded, tears slipping down. She kept typing. Greater than Noah, her brother, confessed that he planted my pearl necklace in her room and lied to us. We believed him, and we threw her out. We failed her as parents. We are deeply sorry. Her hands shook as she finished. Greater than post it, Patricia said. Mom hesitated, then she clicked. Within hours, the post exploded. Neighbors shared it. People commented things like, greater than I knew, that didn't sound like Kayla. Heartbreaking. I hope she's okay. Noah should be ashamed. Kids from school saw it. Parents, teachers, the same people who had whispered thief behind my back were now tagging each other under a post that said, very clearly, I was innocent. Chelsea came over the next day, her phone buzzing nonstop. Greater than look at this, she said, flopping on the couch next to me. You're kind of famous. She showed me messages, people writing things like, greater than Kayla, we're sorry we believed the rumors. If you need anything, my family runs a shelter. You didn't deserve this. It was overwhelming. But what I really wanted to know was, what was happening to Noah? Chelsea grinned. Greater than he's living in his own personal hell, she said. His friends dropped him so fast it's actually impressive. People are calling him Pearl Boy behind his back. The principal called him in to discuss his conduct. And rumor has it, he's getting suspended. I should have felt triumphant. Part of me did. Part of me also felt weirdly numb. Greater than he brought it on himself, Patricia said, reading my face. This is his doing, his arrogance, his lies, his need to brag. She was right. Noah's worst consequences came directly from his own choices. Asterisk he framed me. That led to the tape. Asterisk he bragged at a party. That led to the recording. Asterisk he counted on his charm and crocodile tears. That's exactly what made everyone disgusted once they saw behind the mask. Karmic justice. In real time, at school. Kids who used to follow Noah around started crossing the hall to avoid him. Teachers looked at him differently. The principal made an example of him suspension for dishonesty and causing harm to another student. His golden boy image, gone. At the grocery store, Patricia whispered. Neighbors confronted my parents. How could you throw out your own daughter? Mrs. Larson demanded near the produce aisle. According to Patricia. Over a necklace. Shame on you. Dad mumbled something about a terrible mistake. But the damage was done. Mr. Patel from down the street shook his head at a barbecue and said, loud enough for others to hear. Greater than that's what happens when you spoil one kid and ignore the other. My dad used to walk around town like he owned it. Now, he kept his eyes on the ground. I stayed on Patricia's couch, watching it all ripple out from a distance. Part of me was satisfied. Part of me was just tired. Patricia didn't just give me a couch, she gave me a future. She spent evenings with me, laptop open, helping me scour job listings. You need your own money, she said. Not coffee shop, teenage money. Something steady. She ended up connecting me with a friend of hers who owned a small diner. The same diner, actually, where that guy had given me free food behind the dumpster. Weird full circle moment. I walked in one afternoon, dressed in the least beat-up clothes I had. The owner, a woman named Marla, with sharp eyes and a kind smile, looked me up and down. Patricia vouches for you, she said. That's good enough for me. You ever wait tables? No, I admitted, but I learn fast. And I work hard. She nodded. Shifts are rough. Customers can be mean, but I pay fairly. And tips are yours. You show up on time. You keep your head. You've got a job. I swallowed. Greater than I'll take it. The first shift, I thought about how, not that long ago, I'd been eating from her dumpster. Now I was taking orders, refilling coffees, walking by that same back door with my head held just a little higher. Patricia also found me a room to rent, above a bookstore across town. The room was tiny, just enough space for a twin bed, a small dresser, and a desk. The window faced a busy street. The floor creaked when I walked. To me, it was a palace, because it was mine, not conditional on being a good daughter, not threatened by the word thief. Mine. My parents tried to reach out. Mom left voicemails on Patricia's landline. Greater than, Kayla, please. We're so sorry. We miss you. We want to see you. Dad sent a letter. Actual paper. His handwriting stiff and formal. He wrote things like, greater than, we misjudged the situation. We made a grave error in judgment. I hope one day you can forgive us. Not once did he write, we threw you out and we were wrong. Not once did he write, we chose your brother over you, and we broke your trust. The words felt sanitized. Safe. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted to hurt them, but because I wasn't ready. Some wounds don't close just because someone finally admits they were wrong. One gray morning, a few months later, I stood at the Portland bus station with my backpack slung over my shoulder. I'd saved some money from the diner, enough to cover a deposit somewhere cheaper in another town and keep me afloat while I transferred schools. Patricia stood next to me, denim jacket flapping in the wind. Greater than, you sure about this? She asked. I nodded. If I stay, I said, everything will still be about them, about what they did, about Noah's reputation, Dad's pride, Mom's guilt. I need space to be something other than the girl whose family kicked her out. She smiled sadly. Greater than, you've got a fighter's spirit, she said. Don't let anyone, family or not, take that from you. Chelsea had come by the night before, crying into my shoulder. Greater than, text me every day, she'd demanded. I'm serious. I will stalk you if you disappear. I laughed. Greater than, I will, I promised. You're stuck with me? As I waited for the bus, I thought about everything that had happened. The accusation, the night on the porch, the park bench. The dumpster, the tape, the confrontation, the public apology. I thought about the fact that my parents' favoritism had been there my whole life. The necklace incident just ripped the curtain down. I thought about how easy it had been for them to choose Noah over me. How quickly trust can shatter. The bus pulled up, hissing. I turned to Patricia and hugged her tight. Greater than, thank you, I said, for believing me when no one else did, for giving me a couch, for pushing Mom to tell the truth, for everything. You did the hard part, she said. You survived. You stood up. You walked away. I climbed onto the bus. As it pulled away, I watched Portland blur, past the streets where people had whispered, thief, the houses where neighbors now whispered, did you hear what Noah did? The little coffee shop where I'd once thought working hard would be enough to protect me from everything. It wasn't, but facing the truth, that had given me something even harder to destroy, myself. Looking back now, I don't tell this story to drag my family. I tell it because of what it taught me. It taught me that, family favoritism is not just annoying, it's dangerous. It can make parents blind. It can make siblings cruel. It can destroy trust in ways that take years to even begin to untangle. Blind trust. The kind that says, he would never do that. Just because someone cries the loudest hurts everyone involved. It hurt me because it left me homeless. It hurt Noah because it made him arrogant enough to think he could ruin someone's life for fun. Apologies are important. But they don't magically erase trauma. You can accept someone's sorry and still choose not to let them back into your life. And maybe the biggest one. Standing up for the truth, even when you're alone, is worth it. When my dad called me a disgrace and threw me out, I started to believe it. When my classmates whispered thief, I started to question myself. But deep down, there was this small, stubborn part of me that kept saying, you know what you did, you know what you didn't do, hold on to that. If you're listening to this and you've been the unfavored one in your family, if you've been blamed for things you didn't do because it was easier than questioning the golden child, if you've been told to be the bigger person while someone else gets away with hurting you over and over, I want you to hear this. Greater than asterisk asterisk, you are not crazy for noticing the double standard. You are not selfish for wanting fairness. You are not cruel for walking away from people who refuse to see you clearly. Asterisk, asterisk, guard your truth, guard your sanity, guard your future. People, even family, will sometimes try to make their problems your responsibility. They'll call you dramatic, ungrateful, or cold when you stop accepting their version of reality. Let them, because at the end of the day, I walked away from that house with nothing but a backpack and a cassette tape. Now, I have my own place, my own income, asterisk, my name cleared, asterisk, friends, and an aunt who actually see me, asterisk, and most importantly, the knowledge that I can survive without the people who broke me. Noah's lie ruined his reputation, not mine. My parents' blind trust cost them their relationship with their daughter far more than it cost me my relationship with them. I lost a necklace I never stole, but I gained a life they can no longer control. If you're still here, thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever been in a situation where your own family didn't believe you, or chose a liar over you, and you still managed to stand back up, you're stronger than you know. Drop your story in the comments if you're comfortable. I read them, and I know other people going through similar things do too. You never know who your words might help. And if you haven't already, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more long, raw story times like this. Stories about truth, justice, and learning to choose yourself even when it hurts. Because one thing I've learned, asterisk, asterisk, your peace, your dignity, and your future are worth fighting for. Asterisk, asterisk, greater than even if you have to fight your way out of your own front door to protect them.